Hi, this is Pam with Follow Your Brush with another episode of What in the World Is She Doing Now? If you're not familiar with me, I live in Georgia. I'm a watercolor artist and I like to experiment. So I call myself a watercolor explorist on my YouTube channel because when I began watercolor, I didn't know what I was doing, but I like to play and explore, and I thought some of you might feel like you're in that same boat. So I want to share with you what I'm doing this week, and that is I purchased it's called Aquaboard. I got it on sale from Cheap Joe's. There's a pack of 4. And what it is this is one we're going to play with here in just a second. It's like a piece of chipboard on the back. And then it's covered with a surface similar to if you were to put, if you have watercolor ground that you put on a surface to, like on wood or whatever, to enable you to use watercolor. This actually could be multimedia. You could use acrylics probably really nicely on this Aquaboard, or oils, or I don't know about pastels. I'm not a pastel artist, but today I'm going to try the watercolor, and I'm going to show you some of the things I've already done when I was playing this week, and then we're going to do one and show you what I'm talking about. I did do this one. This was wet on dry, and I like the way it came out. And then I did try to do a little splatter, which didn't quite show up. But I'm going to show you another one here. Now, this was wet on wet, and when you add the water, wet on wet, these colors are just going to, they're just going to lift, they're going to run, they're going to spread around. See how it's just kind of sitting on the surface and running? Now, don't despair. I know this particular piece is ruined. It's a nice purple blend though I'm getting there. I guess if I wanted to, I could just come over this whole thing and let these colors come off with the water and give me a background of some sort. Let's let them blend. See what they want to do. See how they want to play. They are nice colors. These are my Michael Harding colors. So for that, I have no complaints. They're really pretty. But it's just a really different type of surface. And I did buy it just out of curiosity. I'd never used it or tried it. And like I say, it'd probably be quite effective with maybe other medias. But you can use your watercolor. This was wet on wet. So wet on wet, that's exactly what you're gonna get. It's just gonna sit there and it's gonna lift what you had before and puddle up and muddle up, and that might not be what you want. I'm gonna set that aside, let it dry. This one I did come in next and I used wet on dry. Much better results. I like that one better. Then I tried another one this morning. This is still slightly damp, but I came in, I did a little bit of area wet first, then I brought my paint in, brought some more colors in, and as it dries, you can see it does mushroom, and it does leave a hard line where that water goes because it doesn't absorb quite as rapidly. This you can actually see kind of 3 lines, because I came in here more than once to add color. Now let me see, I can come back and maybe kind of blend some of this out with my wet brush, just no pigment, just wet brush. So that's kind of effective. I can make some lines there. Come across and maybe give it somewhat of an ocean feeling. Sky's not bad, a little billowy billowy day at the beach, huh? But anyway, I want to show you what I'm talking about. So those are just a few that I have already been playing with. I have one more left, and not to despair, I did not buy these for masterpieces. They are just strictly for fun. So it doesn't really matter if to me, if I mess them up. I just bought it for experiment. But what this reminded me of, the way that the water kind of hits the surface, it reminded me of when I was a child and growing up in the city in Philadelphia with the hot concrete sidewalk, and then you take a hose and you write messages with the hose and the sidewalk. I don't know if y'all did that. Maybe you didn't grow up in the hot city with me. But you know how you just kind of put that hose in the water on the concrete and it just leaves a mark so you can see where it's been. That's what this does. Now see how it's just like, oh look, we can draw a message in the sidewalk with our water. You see how it's doing that? Let me zoom in. You see exactly where you have put that water, and it's just gonna sit there on the top. And that's about it. That's what you're gonna get. I'm gonna show you a couple examples as this dries. You see how it just kind of absorbs in there? And just kind of makes a blotch, almost like if it, like on regular copy paper or typing paper or something of that nature, in a notebook, it just kind of, you see where the water is, and that's it. It just soaked right there. That's what this does. I'm gonna come in here with a bright color. Let's come in here with a bright yellow where these wet lines have been, and see how that comes across. Okay, we add some more water and show you what it does. See how it just kind of sits on the top, and it doesn't really blend like you would have with watercolor paper. Instead, you're going to get the original color is just going to sit there, but it's not going to blend together like you might have if you were doing watercolor paper, 140-pound watercolor paper. I'm going to come back in here with some turquoise. Let's just kind of pretend like we're making a feather maybe. I don't know, I'm just playing, which is what I do. If you haven't followed me, I just call myself a watercolor explorist and just play and just see what's possible or what's not possible. It kind of goes both ways. So this is what I did on the pre-wet paper. Kind of come around, like give it a line like here. Just maybe make like a little feather. Bird feather. But that is different than what it would do on watercolor paper. You can see these are damp. This still has a little bit of water on the surface right there. Let me show you what it does if I come in wet on dry. All right, so I have paint on my brush. Today I'm using my Escoda Reserva Sable, Kolinsky Sable travel brushes from Escoda. I'm gonna come in wet on dry. See, it's a totally different experience, wet on dry. And I kind of like that. I like that better than trying to come in wet on wet. I do like soft edges of wet on wet. When I paint, I like soft edges. My cat's crying, I'm sorry. But even then, see, it just doesn't really dry the same. It's just kind of different. And if you come back in with the water, it's just gonna leave some little blossom marks. Let's try another color. Let's come in here with some Quin Rose. Now see, this is kind of what I did with the other one, with the wet on dry. What you have to do is then just leave it alone. You can't just keep coming back in and adding to it. And that's actually, for me, that might be a good thing because I have a really bad habit trying to do that. Come in here and just maybe, let's make this a poppy maybe. Could maybe do that. Get a little bit of my green, give it a, this is just playtime, you know. Just see what things do, how they work. And that was what I wanted to do with this. Just kind of play with this Aquaboard and see what it might do. So there you go. Wet on dry, I think, is probably your best bet, and then you walk away and leave it alone. Let me try another one. This area is wet right here, but let me come in here and try to do another. See, now that one is because where the wet has already gone. See how that's spreading? And I really didn't want it to, but it is. So it's interesting. So you basically, if you want to use this for watercolor, it will also, when you come back in, it will lift what you had already done. You see how it's got these marks on here and these mushroom looking things? I'm gonna try to add some little poppy center on this one too. Oh, it's not too bad, but you know, I'll take my Arch paper any day. Go back to my 140-pound watercolor paper. Come over this feather here laying on the ground. But that's what I've been playing with, and somebody said they wanted to see, I was trying to explain what it does, and they just wanted to see it in action. So this is what it does. I think your wet on dry is the best. It kind of sits on the top. Doesn't really want to move around or blend or be happy like that. And then if you do come back over it with just a damp brush, it's going to lift out. So those colors, you're going to go back to your white. Now, if you like to paint and kind of come back in and leave shadows or make white marks or highlights, it might be something you enjoy. But I personally, for my watercolor projects, this probably would not be my go-to. But it was worth a try. You know, it wasn't that expensive, and I did want to try it. And who knows, you may try it and absolutely love it if you're in another medium, such as acrylics or oils. This might be right up your alley. Right, what you want is a piece of board already mounted, chipboard with the surface, and then you can just paint right on it. Come back out a little bit. This is my beach scene that I did a second ago. And it's not too bad for a beach scene. It does leave the lines where the water has been. It's a very tumultuous day at the beach. Probably wouldn't want to be there today. You can still kind of see how this will lift. So there you go, Aquaboard. Let me know if you've tried it, if you like it, and if you do, what's your favorite use for it? Maybe you use it for acrylics. Maybe you use it for collage. It might be great for collage. So let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching and following Follow Your Brush with Pam. Please like and subscribe and join me on more adventures with Follow Your Brush. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.